Glyn here, and today we're going to learn how to generate infinite EMC using Tekkit. Please note before we begin that this exploit may get you banned on some servers, so be careful where you use it. So in terms of basic machines and materials, you're going to need some pneumatic tubes, some timers, some obsidian transport pipes, some iron transport pipes, a couple of energy condensers, some rotary macerators or just standard macerators, some filters, some cobblestone or stone transport pipes, and a distribution transport pipe. So first off, we want to set up our macerators so that we can pump blaze rods into the macerators and then pump the blaze powder out of the macerators. So to do that, to set up an infinitely looping system, we're going to use an energy condenser to create the blaze rods, and then we're going to use pneumatic pipes to actually pump it into the macerators. Now the way we set up pneumatic pipes is we first set up a filter, and with a filter it has both an input face and an output face, and we can change that using a screwdriver. So in this case we want our input face to be facing our condenser and our output face to be going somewhere in another direction so we can pump it out to the macerators here. So then we'll use our pneumatic tubes to connect to our macerators. So if I go along the top here, I'll then be able to easily add more macerators to the line if I wanted to. So now let's quickly add our macerators. One there, one there, one there, one there, and finally one here. And we can also use these filters, as we did for the energy condenser, with our macerators to pump out the blaze rods after they've been turned into blaze powder. So if we lay down our filters here and adjust the faces using the tool, we're going to now have a system that pumps out blaze powder and also takes in blaze rods. Now the way filters work is when you want something to pump stuff out, you have to apply a pulse. The problem with this is if you have a lever, you apply one pulse and the pulse stays on. It will only detect a pulse that is changing between two signals. So if the redstone signal has a 0 and 1 signal, where 1 is kind of glowing and 0 is not glowing, it'll only pump out when it either changes from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0. So essentially, instead of having something like a lever, you're going to have either a button that is repeatedly pressed, but then you'd actually have to have a person standing here, or you can use what we had before, which is a timer. And what these things will do is they'll keep pulsing at a set interval, and as you can see, the filter will chuck stuff out. So let's turn that right down to the base value. And you can either use many timers like this, or alternatively, you can use one timer and then wire up a redstone signal carrier, like a redstone wire or red alloy wire, to go between all of these filters. This just, in some cases, I find it easier to wire up like this, because then I don't have to worry about the wiring going everywhere and looking ugly. Let's actually disable this because I don't have enough timers. And put this next to our chest filter. Nope. Next to our chest filter. There we go. So now they should happily pump out, apart from this one obviously because it's turned off, after we've got the system set up. Now you may be thinking at this point, why aren't you connecting pneumatic tubes to this, so that when you come to put it into your final storage, in this case it's going to be an energy condenser, it'll speed out of this and just go straight to that. Well, the problem is I want this to be fully automatic, in which case, even if I have a large EMC store in here for blaze rods, eventually it's going to run out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this distribution transport pipe, and I'm going to siphon off 2 of the blaze rod powders, because that's the EMC equivalent of a blaze rod, back into my system, whilst the other 3 excess blaze powders are going to go into my storage chest here. So what I need to do here is I need to put down a distribution transport pipe. I then need to, because these transport pipes don't work with the pneumatic tubes, I'm going to have to do a quick, easy, simple conversion to the build craft pipes by using an obsidian pipe. And what an obsidian pipe does is it if an item lands on it, it will automatically pick it up and start pushing it down the tubes. So if I connect these up, what I want to do is I'm going to want to have some iron pipes, because this is a large system, so in case, for example, an item travels down this pipe, goes along here, it then has like a 50-50 chance to either keep going straight or go up here. So in case it goes up here, what we're going to want to do is place iron pipes just below this. So in that case, because iron pipes are one-way pipes, we can set it so that the item, if it tries to travel up here, it'll just go straight back down again. I'm similarly going to, in the gaps between, I'm going to also add iron pipes, just to make sure and save time for the items travelling between pipes. So if we add the iron pipes here, and just add one for every, like so. And then we're going to want to add the iron pipes in between. For some reason there's not a thing there. Okay. Like so. And then we'll just have another pipe going down to the transportation pipe like this. And we'll have two different colored pipes coming off of that. Now we want to make sure our iron pipes are set up correctly, because of course when we place them down, the first pipe it will connect to, I believe, will be the output. See there, it's gone to the obsidian. So we want to take our stone sort of iron wrench and just connect it like that, because the opaque side will be the input side and the sort of translucent side will be the output side. Similarly like this, we want it to flow that way, so it's going to be like so. Like so. That one's already correct. And there we go. One thing to note here, you could speed up the transportation process through gold pipes, but at the end of the day, once it's created, it doesn't really matter what speed it gets there. Of course, you could argue that you're going to generate it faster, but once it's set up, you're going to be continuously pumping, so you won't notice any difference. I'm just going to go set the time back to noon. So now, of course, we want these two pipes, one to go to the energy condenser here, which you set up. I'll actually have it going up here and across. And of course this one goes down here, up and across. And then we need to set up our distribution transport pipe. And this one we want two going to that one, and wait, no, three going to this one because it's the excess pipe, and two going to this one because that's our system pipe. So if I find a blank spot, I can then click on this pipe, and as you can see, colours come up, and basically we've got cyan here and yellow here, and this acts like a ratio. So for example, if I now have 1 to 1, this means for every one that goes down the cyan pipe, one will go down the yellow pipe, etc. So what we actually want is 3 to 2. So for every 3 blaze powders that goes to our excess storage, we want 2 to go to our system storage. And now the system should be fully automatic. So let's test this out. So we're going to want to put a blaze rod into the condenser, and let's just put some EMC in to begin with. It's worth noting that you don't want to completely fill this chamber, because then if all the blaze rods come up here, no, blaze powders come up here, you'll then overflow if this is completely full. So we're going to want to leave some space. I'll just dump a couple in so we can see the machines running. As you can see, it goes into the macerator. Don't worry about it filling up the bottom slot. They'll continue to run anyway. Of course, I'm using rotary macerators, so they take a while to spin up. And as you can see, one's already going down the pipe here. And sometimes they do, because there's a junction here, sometimes they'll choose to go one way. But don't worry about that, because we stopped it with our iron pipes. I forgot to mention this previously, but with filters, every pulse that the filter receives, it will pump out whatever's in here. So for example, every pulse it will now pump out 4 blaze rods. If the filter's empty, however, it will pump out anything. Generally the first slot, so that slot there. You'll need to set this up to use blaze rods, however, because if this is constantly pumping in blaze powder, it has a chance to pump the blaze powder out before it can be condensed. So now I've had my system on for quite a while, and most of my machines are up to full speed now. And it is pumping out blaze powder at quite a significant rate. I mean, look at all these pipes, they've got so much blaze powder in. Most of it's going to my excess here. Quite a bit of it is actually going to my blaze rod generator here. And if I look in here, I've already got 38 dark matter, and I haven't actually been physically here that long. What you want to do is put red matter in here later, so it'll take longer to generate and you use up less space. But just in case you're on a multiplayer server, and for example you're using a world anchor, so this is running the whole day essentially, you're going to be producing a lot of EMC, so you might just want to put more chests on using cobblestone generators here, just to make sure it doesn't overflow, because of course if the system overflows, these pneumatic pipes won't overflow, however the buildcraft pipes will. And if they do overflow, you can have all these items dropping onto the floor, and it will cause your server, or whoever server you're playing on, it will cause major lag. That's the only warning I have. So I hope you have fun using the system, and I hope you have fun with Tekkit.